Oh, look, there's a very tired face and a little wave from Lawrie. I'm going to start by something which isn't even on my list tonight. I'm going to say an absolutely overwhelming thanks to every member of staff we've got here, every volunteer we've got here. We thought last year was going to be horrendous with COVID. It was. We did not reckon on this year being so horrendously busy as well. Vets are staying till sometimes 1 o'clock in the morning. You can see Laurie's aged about 25 years. You would see that
I do
Abby's,
feel like that, I'll be honest.
you would see that Abby's done the same, but she keeps herself in the dark, so he can't really see. But an effort and contribution from everyone is just beyond belief. I can't name them all because I'd probably miss one out and I'd get into trouble. But
We forget.
everybody has been beyond believable this year. So to all our staff and all our volunteers, there are no words really to say thank you enough, apart from to Lawrie who needs a shave. But apart from that,
I knew you'd get to it. I knew you'd get to it.
We are
I was
back.
counting down the seconds.
counting down. It's 1 month since our last one. It seems like 3 minutes. Our days are just constant. I mean, 7 days a week is not an understatement, and I must admit, for the first year ever, I find it hard to admit this, but first year ever, I am struggling this year because I do get more tired than I was before. I get more tired when I'm out on rescues, so I'm struggling a bit. Old age is kicking in. I know I keep saying it, but it really is kicking in this year. So I'm having to be a bit careful myself. I often just wander into the breakfast room for a little sit down for 5 minutes and then wake up half an hour early and think, oh God, I've got to get back in the office. So guys, thank you so much for your support. Without it, we'd be nowhere at all. But as I say, a huge and massive thanks to all our volunteers and staff. We've got quite a few patients. Obviously, we're still taking off, well, normally over 30 patients a day, and sometimes even more than that. So, which is why our vets are working so hard. Sally and Tim are absolutely stretched to the eyeballs. We are always welcoming and will always welcome volunteer vets, volunteer vet nurses, anybody really to come on board, and volunteers is just a nightmare. Poor Alice is ripping her hair out, and if you saw what colour it was now, I think she's going through hair dye like crazy because I think it's very grey under there. She's really working hard. It's been a massive thing. I think a lot of people, volunteers particularly, who haven't been able to go away for a long time, nearly 2 years now, have suddenly decided that now they can at least go to Devon or Cornwall or somewhere or whatever. They're taking holidays, which leaves us incredibly short. I looked at the rota requests. Alice puts out a rota request to the volunteers every now and then when we're really in trouble. And there was one shift she put on. We needed 9 more volunteers, so we basically had no one on shift at all.
We had one for 11 last week.
11.
As well.
So there we are. See, I obviously was asleep at that one, Lawrie. I obviously fell asleep for 5 minutes and missed that one. But no, massive thanks to everybody. If you live locally to us in Surrey or know anyone who does, please put the word out that we desperately need volunteers. And as I say, vets and vet nurses, volunteer vets and vet nurses would at least take a bit of pressure off our 2 vets, Tim and Sally. I know when they both started, but particularly Tim, I never hold back when I offer a position to a person or tell them what to expect. And I sat them down, I always sit them down and say, look, this is like no job you ever had before. It's going to be a nightmare. You have no idea how busy this gets and how busy we are. And actually I had no idea quite how busy it was going to get. But I think Tim's eyes have got wider and wider and wider over the last weeks as he's just even, he's here till all hours like Sally is, and they give it their all. They've got to start taking it easier. I do shout at them, trust me, I don't let them get away with it. They take no notice of me at all. But they're going to have to, because you can't sustain these sort of hours. You can't work 15 hours a day constantly, 5-6 days a week. It's insane. So anyway, that's the end of my thanks. I am so grateful. Without them we wouldn't work. And we have put a special mention into Alice, who we have bought a year's supply of hair dye to, because she's
going to kill you for that.
She's going grey underneath it all. So Lawrie, what have you got on? Should we do a little bit of patients and rescues? Do you want to do a crack into that?
It's been absolutely incredibly busy. So when we sort of switched from the every fortnight versions of these that we were doing to once a month, we did say at the time that everything is just getting manic, and it really has just continued to get more busy than ever before. We have patient numbers in now that even just a few years ago we wouldn't have even thought possible, especially with foxes, and we will get onto these later. I know one of you has I said on the YouTube thing, do we get news about foxes? Yes, there is a lot of news about foxes coming. We have seen so many foxes. I think pretty much every pen up there has a fox in it at the moment, so we've got a lot of stuff to bring you about foxes. But it's been incredibly busy, and as Simon's saying, everyone from the vets to the volunteers, receptionists, rescuers, no one has had a break for probably a year, I think, at this point. Usually in the winter we do get a sort of dip, a down season, when we can start to do things like maintenance, rebuild the pens, do any painting or general sort of tarting up of the sensor that we need to do. But it's really not been that way. It's just been manic and then more manic. So we do have a lot to get through. So Simon, do you want to start us off with probably one of the most unusual patients that we've seen recently? Now see if you can work it out from there.
You're talking about yourself, Lawrie?
No, I'm not unusual, just unwanted.
Are we talking about the sad one?
No.
Okay.
I'm talking about the white one.
That's me. I've got white hair.
That's why people don't ask you to shave. It just it blends in.
Absolutely, it does. Doesn't show. We're talking about a prickly patient.
We are indeed talking about a prickly patient.
So we're going to be talking about an albino hedgehog. We do get them in from time to time. We get albino squirrels, we get albino hedgehogs. We've got a semi-albino badger in at the moment, one of our badger cubs. If you look on our webcams, guys, you'll see that. That plays around at night, and it's not totally white, but it's much whiter than others.
It's more Eurocystic than albino, really.
Absolutely. We do get the albino hedgehog, and there he is. Look at him. Very pretty. He's got the red eyes. He's very cute. They are around. We see probably a couple a year. Over the years, probably about the same sort of numbers. They do survive in the wild. Everybody thinks they get picked on and bullied and whatever. We have no verification of that. When I speak to other hedgehog experts, they don't think there's too much bullying going on. But they are very cute, they are very pretty, and they remind me of me, including my red eyes. But he's with us at the moment. Is he out with the carer, or is he?
Yes, he's with Angela, who is one of our amazing orphan feeders that seem to be able to do everything from young rodents, which, trust me, some of those are ridiculously difficult. Usually with orphan feeding you get a small break overnight between midnight and 6 o'clock in the morning. With rodents you don't at all, so it's either every hour, every 2 hours, depending on their age, throughout the night, and you do not get sleep for weeks. So Angela not only does a lot of our rodent stuff, she also does a lot of our rabbits and a lot of our hedgehogs as well. And this little male, I believe, is with her, doing absolutely fantastically, putting on a whole load of weight, becoming nice and plump. And I know a few of you have been asking on social media whether we intend to release this hedgehog when the time comes. Yes, we always intend to release anything that comes in here. We don't keep anything in captivity or anything like that. So yes, the plan is to return him back to the wild as soon as he's ready to go.
Well, you know what to say. I mean, Angela has been with us for many years. You say the older you get, the less sleep you need. So Angela's fine. I mean, I've never known anybody. She works like a little demon from home.
Are you trying to get killed by every single staff member and volunteer that we have?
Somebody's going to kill me at some point. But no, Angela, she works from home. She doesn't. She's been with us for literally a long time. I mean, as long as I can remember, to be honest. But she takes hundreds and hundreds of orphans in every year. She works very hard, and she gets me out the other side, and they're all fine. So Angela, a big thank you to you. You know, you don't need sleep now. The older you get, I'll tell you, I just need lots of sleep, so I'm going through my second childhood, but there we are. So thank you to Angela. What else we got, Lawrie?
We have, to be honest, this is the sheet that we have at the moment. I'll hold it back so you can't really see it. And every single line of that is a patient that we need to talk about, which is mad. It really, really has been incredible. But considering you briefly touched on it earlier, unfortunately this isn't a particularly happy outcome, but it is certainly a very, very rare event here. Would you like to speak about our otter?
Yeah, we had for the first time ever a baby otter in, which I was very excited about. It was found asleep or curled up on the side of the Thames, at Walton-on-Thames. It was really pretty, it was really cute. They are quite vicious. Even at that age they can give you a very nasty bite, so we took it in and we were just waiting to let it settle down before we assessed it. But sadly, as soon as we did assess it, we saw that it had two quite severe wounds on its abdomen, It looked like 2 little bites. We don't know what it was. It could have been a dog, but unlikely because I thought it'd been bigger. It could have been an adult otter. I've never actually seen otters on the Thames. Apparently they are there. I had to Google it because I didn't believe there were otters on the Thames, but there are. Not so many because they have a massive territory. The males have up to a 40-kilometre territory, so it's pretty massive. And they're very solitary animals, so you don't often see them. But to see that one was very exciting for us. I was so excited that we were going to get our first otter in at the centre, which we did. But sadly, it didn't live for very long. It died very quickly, despite all our efforts. And we were speaking to every single otter expert in the country. We were down onto people in Devon, all over the place, trying to get some advice.
Huge thanks to Dave from the UK Wild Otter Trust and the vet team down there, because we, as Simon said, we very, very rarely see otters here. You've only seen one, I think, in all the years. So we immediately contacted them for advice to see exactly what we could do. They were incredibly helpful, went through the whole thing. They did say with bite wounds, otters are hugely susceptible to sepsis, and with sepsis, unfortunately, as soon as that sets in, there's actually very, very little that can be done. We put him on treatment straight away. He was on painkillers, anti-inflammatories, the antibiotics, everything from there, but unfortunately he just wasn't strong enough to survive. And I know
the only thing we didn't try, Lawrie,
the only thing we didn't try
was neat Bacardi. Perhaps we should have tried neat Bacardi. That would have.
That's what worked with you.
That would have got him through. Yeah, it was tragic. I was so sad to lose him. We wouldn't, to be honest, have kept him that long because otters need to socialise, rather like badgers. We would have let him go down. We were already talking to Dave about taking him down to join him. In fact, we had a trip planned a week later to take him down to join him. But Dave, in turn, was talking to otter specialist vets. So we really pulled out all the stops. To be honest, we pull out all the stops for every patient. Most of the patients we know how to deal with, we know how to treat. But if ever we get something we're not sure about, we are on the phone to a huge array of brilliant vets and specialists who can help us out. And we use and abuse them an awful lot. They use and abuse us as well sometimes, which is fine. But there's a lot of I think joining together when you have a problem. Everybody joins together to try to help, but sadly this one didn't work. So perhaps we'll get another one next year. In a way I hope we do, and in a way I hope we don't, because I don't like to see patients come in, to be honest. But I mean, they are pretty special. The only one we've had in before tried to kill me, so I wasn't too friendly with that, and we managed to release that back to the wild quite quickly because he was fine. But yeah, so that's the otter story.
I've heard about the adult otter that was actually here just, I think, before my time here. But Simon went into the pen expecting to treat it just like every other patient. Went in with a towel.
Well, not quite the same. Let me stop that.
Do you want to do it?
Well, no, because when you work with a species, you know what to expect. You tend to work with them when they're young, they grow up, so you know roughly what you can do, what you can't, how it's going to behave. And because we'd never had an otter in, and I've only worked with otters a few times when I've been to other centres, I thought I'd just treat it like a badger. You know, yes, it will attack you, it will give you a nasty bite, and that's another story which I will talk about later on. I should have had a bandage on that. But so I treated it like a badger, thinking that it would it would just be badger-like. It wouldn't attack me unless I got too close. What I hadn't worked out with adult otters is that they see you, they look at you, and then they lunge at you at great speed while screaming their heads off. I came out of that shed backwards at about 500 miles an hour, and then I developed a whole new protocol for how to deal with adult otters. So yeah.
Then you give them to someone else.
It'll come into play sometime, but it is quite interesting. So, I mean, if you look at some of the naturalists in this world, Nutkins and somebody else, I can't remember his name at the moment, have lost fingers, and they say if you get bitten by an otter, you are going to go to A&E because it's going to have done something very serious and probably taken the end of your finger off. There are a few people who have had that happen to them, so you do have to treat them with a load of respect. Any animal should be treated with respect, and you should always consider that any animal could bite you if it wanted to. But otters particularly, the bite's going to be quite serious, like a badger bite can be quite serious.
So whilst we're on that topic, would you like to explain the brief mention of your left thumb? Are you actually bandaging it up to make it look worse?
Yeah, because we did get lots of money last time I did this. We got lots of money in because people felt sorry for it. Again, sorry, it's a sad story, guys. It was our first badger cub of the year. We'd had it here, it was doing okay. It was with the others. It went downhill. We had to bring it back down again. It got a lot of cracks and marks on its feet and open sores and wounds, so we had to bring it back down. And it was never right. When it came in, when it was a baby, it walked with splayed back legs, which some do. Some babies do that. Anyway, to cut a very long story short, and it was a very harrowing experience for us. It did sadly die. Even one post-mortem, over all the years we've done post-mortems here, I've learned that the only thing you learn from a post-mortem is what it didn't die of, not what it did. There was nothing very evident to do. There was nothing in the biopsies or autopsy that showed us what it died of. But it just went downhill. It stopped eating, and I was just trying to check its dehydration on the very last day, actually, and it turned around and bit me. But if badgers are in pain, or if they're in distress, they bite onto something, a bit of stick or a bit of wood or whatever, and it turned. I mean, even though it was obviously in a lot of pain, it turned around and bit my thumb very hard twice. It really hurt, and you can't pull a thumb away. If ever you get bit by any animal, it is no good trying to shake your hand or pull away. Just go very still, very quiet, and wait for it to let go, however much the pain is. And to be honest, you have a lot of endorphins that fly through the body when you get something like that. So at the time, it doesn't hurt that much. So yeah, if you do get bitten, just be warned. You've just got to be very patient, very quiet, and wait for it to let go. This one bit me. I tried to take my thumb away. It bit me a second time. It did let go in the end, but it died slightly after. It was probably from the poisoning of biting me, to be honest, poor little thing. But I was very sad because it was our first cub of the year, and we were really, really trying, like we do with any cub here. We try, and if I lose a badger, I get particularly upset. But nothing can be done. So we do get sad stories. I'd let you know, we get 70% of our animals probably back to the wild, which is great. But we get 30% who don't make it, and we don't tend to air them as much as we air the success stories. But our life here is not all roses and custard and cream. Why did I say custard and cream? I have no idea at all. I probably because I'm hungry. Hungry, I want some supper. But yeah, I mean, we do get sad stories. We do get tragic cases. We do get we had a horrible case today. Lawrie and I went out to a deer that obviously we don't know what had happened. We suspected it had been hit by a car, but we can't even show you the wounds. It had a gash across its whole jaw and face. It opened its whole face up. The skin was necrotic, and we had to put it to sleep because obviously it was way too far gone. But we never really know what's got that. It could have been a car. It could have been something else. But all we can do in cases like that is put them out of their misery and put them to sleep. And that's quite sad as well. But we don't. We have a good success rate, but it's not all roses or custard and cream. Come to that.
Yeah, unfortunately that's the reality of a lot of wildlife rescues, domestic rescues, anything like that. That sadly there are, by the nature of the beast, as it were, there are certain animals that are just far, far, far too beyond saving at that point, and some of the injuries that you see at that point do, as I know a few of you have mentioned in the comments already, do make it difficult to think of the positive side of things and seeing the releases and seeing the success stories when you see the odd case that comes in where it's so in pain and so injured, but unfortunately we do have to deal with that as well. So we do try and keep that one slightly more muted in terms of social media. It's not something that a lot of people want to see, but yes,
we handle it every day.
It does happen.
We handle that every day, and this is why, I mean, a lot of people say that doctors and vets and nurses and wildlife people have a sixth sense of humour. You've got to have it, because you've got to get rid of it. If you bottle all that up and don't talk about it and don't make a joke about it, I think you just fall to pieces inside a few years. So yeah, we get over it because we've got to be ready for the next patient that comes in. So it's a bit of a roller coaster, but we've managed to survive the roller coaster for 40 years, and we shall keep surviving it for the next few years as well. Now I'm going to say thank you now, because we're going to forget again, like last year, like last week, we forgot. Leatherman, who we bought a lot of kit from in the past, Lawrie wrote to them. Smart. He's learning from me, Lawrie.
I did not write to them.
You must have done something.
You got it wrong. No.
You did something.
So we posted a video, as some of you may remember, a while ago, about a deer that was trapped in sort of orange electrical netting. And one thing that I have, very lucky, actually my partner bought these for me, but one thing that I've found that I really, really like on rescues are these. So these are Leatherman Raptor shears. They're the same ones that are used by the guys at Ocean Conservation Namibia. I know a lot of you guys follow that channel as well. They are fantastic sort of bandage scissors, very, very good at getting through rope, and have a net cutter on them as well, which is very, very useful. So I've been using those for quite a while. I know Simon has a set as well, and we posted that video, and within 10 minutes of it going live, we got a message from Leatherman, based in the USA, saying, we love what you do, we've seen this video, and we'd love to help you out. So within a week from that, we had a whole load of things turn up from the amazing guys at Leatherman, and they have been incredibly useful. We've used their tools for an awful long time as well, but it's amazing that they're now helping us out. They've sent us a whole load of things, and if we ever have a problem that we can't solve with what we have, they'll just go, we recommend this, and they'll send one out. So huge thank you. As we say every single time on here, we are not funded by the government. We rely entirely on public donations, the support of people like you guys, and companies like Leatherman as well, who can help us out. They're not cheap tools. I think one of these will run about £100 in the UK, and having a company that will come out and support us with the product is absolutely incredible. So if there is anyone from Leatherman watching, thank you very, very much, especially to Billy if he's there, but thank you very much. It's been a great help.
And I think Leatherman actually should sort of go into the distilling trade now and start to sell Bacardi, because, you know, if you want to help us out with that as well, that would be good. No, I mean, it's generosity like that A, warms our hearts, B, is very useful to us, and it's nice to be recognised sometimes. It's really cool to be recognised. So thank you, Leatherman, very much for all that kit. We're actually going to give some of these bits and pieces out to some of our newer rescuers, so they get thoroughly spoilt by having all their Leatherman kit bought for them, and I dare say we'll be on the phone very soon to ask for some more, because we're that sort of people. Thank you guys very much, really grateful.
So moving back on to some of the patients that we have been dealing with, and I know a lot of you are waiting for fox updates, and we have seen loads of them. So at the moment we tend to get two main incidents that we have to deal with in terms of foxes at this time of year. The first, very sadly, is a cub or an adult that's been hit by a car. Unfortunately, we're just getting into dispersal time now, when the cubs will be trying to find their own way, and they'll be out and about a lot more, and sadly they're not particularly road savvy, especially if they've grown up in a secluded garden or anything like that, and they will wander out into the road. They don't know what a car is, and they do get hit. So we've seen an awful lot of foxes that have arrived with head tilts, neurological trauma, a lot of road rash, things like that. Luckily, a lot of these are treatable. Unfortunately, you're always going to get ones that occasionally are beyond saving, but we've had a lot in with severe neurological trauma from taking a massive impact to the side of the head, and a lot of that, they end up with a head tilt and they're walking around in circles, and it can take quite a long time to get them back on their feet. So we have quite a few of those.
It's funny that, actually, let me stop you for a minute, because I've noticed that Lawrie gets that head tilt quite often, and it's often when I've just whacked him across the side of the head because he's annoyed me. He gets head tilt
from Simon.
He gets trauma. He gets traumatised. Very bad. I tried it with Abby, but then Adam got very stroppy, so I never tried it with her again.
No, you're scared of Abby.
I'm scared of Abby. More scared of Adam, though.
I can't hear a word I'm saying.
Yes, Abby's just said, so usually Abby's has a phone so that she can hear what's going on. She doesn't have headphones at the moment, so she has no idea what's going on. I'm saying that Simon is scared of you, and should be scared of you.
Yeah.
And I think if we move this camera around over there, Abby
see
can agree
darkness.
that she definitely should be scared.
All we can see is darkness, Lawrie.
So the other thing we've seen a lot of in foxes at the moment is something that a lot of people will probably know of. It's usually the biggest issue that you do see in foxes anywhere, and that is mange. So this poor fox is a before and after case that we had recently about mange. Arrived in with severely crusty skin. So mange is caused by the I think it's Sarcoptes scabiei. It's a mite that burrows under the skin, and it causes real horrible itching. And them constantly scratching that causes sores, causes scabbing, and leaves them vulnerable to secondary infections, things like pneumonia, sepsis, anything like that, that unfortunately will take them down. It is a horrible way to go. It's very slow, it's very uncomfortable. You can just see how horrible that looks. And we have seen an awful lot of that happen here at the centre over the past few weeks. Luckily, if it's caught early enough, it is 100% treatable, and every single fox that we've had in with mange at the moment is making fantastic progress. So we will try and get as many of those out to the wild as we possibly can. But yes, as I think a lot of you will know, mange, we've seen a huge spike in it this time of year. And we've also, another one that we've had recently with our foxes, this little girl came in with fly strike. So if you don't know fly strike, in warm weather, blue bottles especially around here, will find an animal that's been down for even just a few minutes and will lay their eggs in the fur, in any wounds or anything like that, and very, very quickly that will hatch out into maggots. And they will start eating the poor animal alive from the wound, from the eyes, from any opening, and it's horrible. And we've had an awful lot of maggots and fly eggs and things like that over the past couple of weeks. Luckily, everything that's coming has been treated so far. We are able to remove these with sprays, and we use combs that people use for knits in their hair and things like that. Use a lot of things like that, and we actually have a special suction machine that we can use to get rid of maggots. So I think that is pretty much the mainstay of our foxes, but as far as I'm aware, we have nearly 20 at the top of the centre at the moment. So we have a real bulk load of adult foxes, and that's not including all of the cubs that we're still waiting to release.
Just for those who don't know too much about it, mange is actually, a lot of people tell you that mange is incurable and the animal's going to die, so better put it to sleep. Mange is actually exactly the same thing as scabies. If we get mange, it's called scabies.
You've had it, haven't you?
We don't. I've had everything, Lawrie. I've had everything, including badger bites on my poorly thumb,
Yeah,
Lawrie.
I haven't had a badger bite.
Yeah, badger bites, very, very, very bad. You know,
it's what you can't see from the thumb there is when it first happened, that thumb had swollen to roughly the size of his neck.
It was quite big,
huge.
That, Lawrie, is possibly a gross exaggeration. The size
maybe
of my
slightly,
neck.
but it was probably
It was 3 times the size of my other thumb, and it's still a bit bigger than my other thumb now, especially at the bottom joint, which I don't know whether something going on or not. But anyway, scabies, mange, curable. We get it. I try to give it to Lawrie as much as I can. He gets head tilt quite often because I whack him one. What should we talk about next? Come on, talk about something. Say something.
I thought you were going to continue there.
No.
Completely unawares.
Excellent.
The other thing we've been seeing a lot of, certainly over the past couple of days, is bats. I love bats. I know a lot of you guys do as well. We usually see what's called a common pipistrelle bat, which is probably the most common species that we have in the UK. One of these little guys. And this is one that arrived with something we see quite a lot, which is torn wing membranes. Now that looks horrible, and that looks like it needs sutures or glue or a whole load of other things, but bats are amazing creatures, and actually if you leave them alone and you just sort of let them get on with it, especially with dedicated bat carers, they can heal that really, really well. So as long as the membrane is still roughly intact, it's not breaking down, it's not necrotic, you haven't got any open fractures to the bones or anything like that, and the membrane at the top of the wing is intact, because that's a little more tricky to heal, they will cope perfectly well. So this is a common pipistrelle that we've had recently, but we've also had a long-eared bat, and long-eared bats are incredible creatures. I have no idea actually if I've got a photo of a long-eared bat on here. No, we don't. I will try and dig one out to put one on.
My fault.
But long-eared bats are... Oh, are you milking it for all it's worth?
Yeah, I'm trying to milk it. I just had a question from Lucy Kells, who used to work here until we didn't talk to her anymore, because people leave here, I don't talk to them anymore. So have you got any video footage of the badger bite? We actually probably have, whether we've still got it, but it was on the camera.
It was on CCTV.
It was on CCTV, and it did get me, and everybody came running up, and it really did hurt. But yeah, we didn't put that out. But yes, so I'm just going to milk it a bit more. That's it. I'm milking, Lawrie, milking. I'm not allowed to. Lawrie put a big note up, don't ask for donation. I'm not. But looking at the screen coming down over me tonight, a lot of people have been so generous. Thank you so much.
So generous.
And that funny German guy's been generous as well. You know what he's like. He appears, doesn't he? He just appears.
We love
Sven appears. Fly over and see us, Sven. We haven't seen you for ages, and now COVID's. Well, actually, it's getting worse again. We shouldn't talk about COVID because it is getting worse again at the moment. I was watching the news tonight, but we're still here, Sven. Still love you, man. Still love you.
Yeah, so huge thank you, as Simon was saying, to everyone who has donated either via on the website or on YouTube with the super chat. You guys are absolutely incredible. As we said before, we can only do what we do thanks to your support, your generosity. All of that is thanks to you. So huge thank you to everyone who has donated money. There's a lot of people just saying, I enjoyed watching our videos on TV years ago. Thank you very much, Christopher. Shetland artist, keep up the great work, and I absolutely adore Shetland. So if you are based in Shetland, I'm incredibly jealous and I want to go back and see more otters, please. Michelle, $9.99 in US dollars, thank you very much. Karen, 20 Canadian dollars. You guys are incredibly generous, so thank you.
You might want to just you might want to read that last comment, which it's probably not the last comment now, but Simon's got a few bats loose in the belfry. Okay,
yes.
You'll be blocked very soon. We're going to block you.
What usually happens is we keep him in a padded cell. We only bring him out when we want to film him for rescues and for the live streams. If not, we can't really trust him. So yeah, we keep him in a padded cell. It's up at the top of the centre. We can put it on webcams if you want.
It's very cosy. Very cosy up there. I like it. As long as there's a Bacardi and Coke, I should be fine.
So we've had quite a few questions that have come in over the past couple of minutes. So thank you to everyone who has sent in a question. If you do have anything you want to ask either myself or Simon or anyone else, I pointed to the wrong end of the screen because it's completely on the wrong side for me. Please just post it in the comments either on Facebook or on YouTube, and we'll try and get through as many as we possibly can. So, Suzanne Pickering, what animal would you like to be reintroduced into the UK? Interesting one to start off with.
Oh, this is the long topic. We shouldn't really get into this because there's always talks about releasing all sorts of animals in the UK which used to be here many years ago, and I think, to be honest, we're in such a diabolical state. We need to spend all our time keeping what we've got in the UK now rather than trying to reintroduce things. I mean, bison, whatever you want to say, all sorts of things, but I mean the habitat we have out there now and the geography we have out there now is not what it was when those animals were here. Yes, it would be beautiful to try and release or re-release some of these animals back in the UK. Guys, we've got enough problems on our plate without trying to be clever. To me, there's only one invasive species on this planet who should not be reintroduced and should be taken out, and that's mankind. We have ruined this planet, and I think we've now got to conserve what we've got rather than try to be over clever and reintroduce species which were here a long time ago when there weren't the people, there weren't the cars, there weren't the roads, there was more habitat. Guys, get real. For heaven's sake, get real. So that's my lesson for the day.
Well, that took a turn.
That shut you up, didn't it?
Belle has asked, I was watching some old videos and came across the one with a big domestic rabbit that was left in the car park. Video said it went home with someone, just wondering how it is doing. That rabbit actually went home with one of our volunteers. It was a long time ago.
100 years ago.
It went home with one of our volunteers and was doing absolutely amazingly last time I heard anything from there. So the lady that actually took it home does a lot of work for rabbit conservation and rabbit rehoming charities as well. So had the best of care, and as far as I'm aware, did fantastically. I'm not sure if it's still around.
I know, it's bloody massive. It was a huge rabbit. I forgot what its name was now. I should probably think of it later on, but I do remember it quite well. But yeah, it had a great life. It went to that, was it Cottontail or Fluffy Tail or something? Mopsy Tail or something in Cheam. Went to one of the charities.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Oh, I do. I know what I'm talking about. I'm a legend in my own bottom. You know that, people. You know, I remember all these things. Lucy will probably remember because Lucy remembers everything.
Lucy is an encyclopedia.
She'll probably come up with something. She'll probably come back into this in a minute and say what it was. But it was gorgeous. I mean, everything we get in is gorgeous. We do our very best. We obviously deal with British wildlife. This was obviously a domesticated rabbit. It wasn't a wild rabbit. But we do still home them out. And I don't put them in my oven to cook, as a lot of people say.
Again, that took a turn. We've just had a comment from Natasha, actually, over on YouTube that's put, greetings from South Africa. Thank you for the great work you do.
I want to come back to South Africa. I miss
Natasha.
it. I miss South Africa. I miss it. I want to come back. I did so much great filming out there. We met so many great people out there. I loved it. So yeah, if you want to invite me back to South Africa, I'd be delighted to go.
I'm always amazed by how wide a reach a lot of this gets, and We originally started with the YouTube side of things as a training thing for our rescue teams and all of that lot. We never intended the YouTube, the TV series, social media to get the reach that it has. And thanks to you guys, we are being this pokey wildlife charity in the middle of Leatherhead.
This what, Lawrie? This pokey...
This nutter started.
Lawrie's going to... Lawrie, bye-bye, Lawrie.
Bye-bye, Italy. Oh, okay. Bye-bye.
Excellent. What piece, guys? Here we go back to the real world now. Let's make Lawrie sulk for as long as he can, because I'm just going to give him another head tilt if he comes back in too soon. There are so many messages coming in. Thank you guys so much. I know we can't answer them all. If you've got something that you want to talk to us about, or you want us to answer, and we don't get to it, please do send us an email, because we do look at every email we get. Believe it or not, I do reply to every single email I get as well. So, if you've got something that's really important that you think we missed, if you spam me, I will sack Lawrie. So just be ready for that one. But no, I really try to answer every serious email I get. And because we're so grateful. I mean, we had a vet nurse in the other day who I went up there, and she said, well, went all funny. I thought, what's the matter with her? She said, oh, it's you. And I just burst out laughing. I said, oh, get a life. Get a life. Yeah. But she's lovely. She's
people always look forward to meeting you until they've met you.
Until they met me. And then it all goes wrong. It all goes so wrong. But no, I mean, she's come in. She's came in as a bit of a week's training with us. She's a qualified vet nurse. She loved what we do. She really enjoyed her first day, which I had to keep questioning about. I said, are you sure you enjoyed it? Are you sure? But she was lovely, and it's so nice to get some sort of gratitude from people, and it does. It makes you I even brush my hair quickly. I know I'm very old, but I brush my hair and put my collar down so I look a bit smarter.
Can I just say as well, I was actually speaking to our vet team earlier as well, who are absolutely taken with the work that she's been doing. So if you are watching this, thank you very, very much. Your work has not gone unnoticed, and you're doing a fantastic job.
Unless, of course,
a lot of good things.
Unless, of course, you don't come back every week and join us for at least 2 days a week, and then you'll just trash. You're just trash. You're out of here. You've gone. You're no good to anybody. Lawrie, next thing. Go on, let's move on. We're nearly out of time.
We just had Scottish Astronomer as well, who's given us £50, so thank you once again. And it's put, for Simon's Thumb Fund, I hope you're all keeping well. I'm still in hospital, but I've got a couple of other patients to watch your live stream too. I'm really sorry to hear that. I really, really hope you're doing okay.
Why is she in hospital?
Sure,
what's going on? What
have
I missed?
And Simon as well.
What's the matter with you? Scottish Astronomer, speak to us. Tell us what's going on. We are worried. Come down here. We'll make you well. We will make you well. We will make you laugh yourself better. And just look at my thumb. That'll make you laugh. No, seriously, get well. Take care.
Yeah, we really hope you're okay.
And send me an email. Send me an email, and I can reply back quietly and discreetly, so nobody else sees it. Be good.
You can't do anything discreetly. Let's be honest. Lawrence over on Facebook has asked, why all of a sudden can I see no foxes about? I used to feed one every night, and all of a sudden I don't see one anymore.
There's a million. I mean, they probably are there. But all wildlife in the UK is suffering. We're losing species like crazy, and it's the normal thing. It's because of man. It's because of roads. It's because of insecticides. It's because of all the things we talk about every single day until you get bored out of your skull. All our wildlife's in trouble. We're supposed to be the most animal-friendly nation in the world, and yet we're not doing terribly well with our wildlife at the moment, guys. So this is why we're building the new centre, because we want to get more educational stuff out there. We're probably going to talk about the new centre a little bit in a minute, but we're already running out of time. That's going very well. I'm going to go into it now because that'll shut Lawrie up for another couple of minutes. So the new centre's going well. We have now completed the wetlands, and if Laurie's very quick and on the ball, he'll probably give you a good picture of it so you can see what's going on. And there it is. So there's our wetlands. The 3 lakes have been established. The grass is beginning to grow back. We are going to seed it properly in the autumn. It's just sad that motorway's next to it. But here we are. Wildlife can survive right next to the busiest road in the UK. In fact, when they were building this, there were this massive great earth movers down there, all sorts of machinery, and yet in the bottom of that field was a roe deer and a young, and they didn't take any notice of all this stuff going on. They just got on with their life. So they can do it. We're just going to try to provide habitat. It's our little wildlife corridor. It's our little bit, if you like. It's our I-dot, as the new centre is our I-dot for the future. It's going great. So we've nearly done the wetlands. That should be finished within the next few weeks, apart from the seeding. When that's done, we then have enough money. We just have enough money to build the CCTV centre, so we can keep the site secure, and the shell of a visitor centre, so we can do CPD courses. And then we have to wait. Sadly, we just have to wait until more money comes in. So we do, like any medium charity, we rely on legacies. And if we get a big one, we can build another building. Otherwise, we just got to wait until we can do it. If you gave me the money tomorrow, we'd have the centre built in 3 years. If we don't get the money tomorrow, we'll just build it bit by bit. But by heaven, whatever, I will get it built before I end up in that big wooden box, which they'll probably float on one of the Middle Lakes before they set fire to it.
Great big swan bag in the sky.
I suspect they'll float me out and then set fire to me. And Lawrie will smile. Look, that little smile's there already, you see?
Oh,
he's waiting. He's waiting for his time.
But for those of you guys who don't know about the new plans for the centre, so we currently have a fairly small site. The plan is to move just half a mile down the road, and to not only increase what we can do as a wildlife rescue, but have a domestic vet on site as well, and an education centre. Because the one thing that we found over the years is really the issue is education. A lot of the things that we have to deal with, that other wildlife rescues have to deal with, are because of human beings, and most of the time it's not done through intentional negligence or anything like that, but people just don't know what damage certain things can do. Like a lot of you guys, especially from the YouTube channel, will know a great love of football netting and doing it at that point. And just raising that 30 centimetres off the ground can save lives.
Hundreds,
people,
if not thousands of lives, to be honest.
So many people just don't even know that that is an issue. And every single person that we've been out to with a fox or a hedgehog or a deer, something like that, have no idea it can cause such a damage, and most of them are absolutely distraught that the netting that they've put out there to protect or to play with or whatever it is has caused such damage. So the plan with the new centre is to really focus on not only educating members of the public, but educating vets and trying to get the knowledge of the wonderful wildlife that we have here in the UK out to as many people as we can.
I've got a t-shirt that Lawrie bought me, which I'm not allowed to show you because there's one word in it that wouldn't go down well. But
it's starred.
It's not rocket science, guys. It really isn't rocket science. Just use your brain, think, and you can actually work out what you need to do, how you need to do it, what we need to achieve to make this whole planet sustainable. I mean, this planet doesn't need us. We need it. But we have abused it so badly for the last 200 or 300 years. We need to turn things around. So the new centre hopefully will start to do that. We will not only do what we do there, which is the heart and soul of wildlife aid. It's what's made us tick for the last 40 years. But we want to try to show children and even adult groups what we can do to help and why it all needs to be in place. The cure for this is massive because it's holistic. You've got to have every single thing in place that works. So you've got to have the habitat, you've got to have the animals, you need everything right. And if we can get that message across to people by showing them the wetlands, by showing them what we're going to have there, we've got a massive screen, or we will have a bank of CCTV cameras around, so we don't have to interfere with the animals on the site, but you can watch it on big screens up at the visitor centre and see what's going on. And it should be, hopefully it will fascinate you as it has us over the years, but we need to learn to understand that we need to give something back. We've taken, or my generation, I'm not even getting at you, my generation and generations before me have taken it for granted. They think it's just going to be fine. It's not. We're now at a point where it's a tipping point, which is why we actually came up with the idea of IDOT, because, you know, everybody says, oh, it's tragic, it's horrible, we've got to make it better, but nobody tells you what you can do. And as an individual, it's very hard to really think that anything you do is going to make any difference. But if you do one thing a day as an individual in the UK, just one little thing a day, that doesn't need to take you long, doesn't need to cost you money, that would equate to 24 billion actions a year. Now that will make a bit of a difference, and a good difference. But if governments pick it up and corporates pick it up, we can go the whole hog and really make things change. But we need to do that. The planet's in trouble, and we're going to try and build this new centre as environmentally as we can. We're going to try to do everything we can. Obviously, it depends on money at the end of the day, how much we can afford to do, but we want to make it environmentally friendly, and we want to show you on that new centre what you can do to make it better. So we're going to do lots of planting of trees and shrubs, and we had a bit of a problem. We had a problem last week. Poor old Jacob, who's worked his little cotton socks off over the last few months. There he is. He was planting aquatic plants in all the lakes. And there he was on his hands and knees, sometimes up to his knees in water, planting these plants. And then he came into me the day after that and said, Simon, Simon, Simon. I said, what's the matter? He said, there were 20 Canada geese on the lakes. They've eaten all the plants. So we don't like Canada geese at the moment. We really don't like them at all.
That's not true.
No, we don't like them. We don't like them. I'm very cross. But no, they'll come back. The roots will survive. They've eaten the sort of heady bits off, and that's fine. But next year, hopefully, it'll be lovely to see how that wetlands really accumulates and grows over the next 3 or 4 years. Abby has been down there most days. She has the odd day off when she forgets, but we've been down there most days doing a time lapse of this site. And in 5 or 10 years' time, whenever we get down there, you'll see this amazing time lapse of the lakes coming from nothing, the grass growing back, the wildflower meadows coming back, the trees being planted. It'll be fascinating. It will be absolutely fascinating. So let's see where we go from here. We will keep you in touch.
So, getting back to a couple of the patients and stuff that we've had here, it's not just been patients that have arrived at the hospital, we've also had an awful lot of rescues, keeping Simon, myself and the rest of our rescue team quite busy. So, in terms of ones that you may have seen, Simon, what do you remember about this one?
Well, I was in his house and I went in and it looked really nice behind the television. So I went and sat down there, and then this woman didn't want me in her house. So Simon had to come along and get me back out. It's a lovely little fox, young fox. It was just tucked down behind the television, wasn't particularly scared. It's come from a very urban area, so I suspect that it's getting food from people's gardens, so it wasn't particularly nervy. But we just hooked him out from under there, which is a bit tricky because there wasn't a lot of space, and I knocked a picture off the mantelpiece, I seem to remember, but didn't break it. Anyway, we took him out into the garden, and he trotted off quite happily and went back to where he was. I just told the lady, please keep your door shut for the time being.
A lot of people on YouTube, the vast majority of the comments were, I'm amazed you didn't knock off that TV and break it.
No, we don't do that. We've never broken anything back. The only time when I was really worried, we did a rescue of a pigeon in a really posh house. God, it was posh, guys, really posh. And there we were with this very large, I nearly swore
you're
then,
going to pronounce this wrong.
A very large chandelier in the hallway with a minstrel staircase on both sides. And Lawrie was thwacking around with his dirty great stick.
That is not true. There is video proof of it.
With his dirty great stick.
Terrified.
I was more terrified, Lawrie. And to get this pigeon, the chandelier was moving in the wind. We got it. We did it, didn't we? We did it.
We've never broken anything.
Never broken anything serious yet. But watch this space.
Except for
might
Simon's
happen
spirit.
Tomorrow. Go on, crack on. We've got little time, Lawrie. We're running out of time, guy.
We do. So, in terms of one of the rescues that you guys might not have seen, I think a couple of you on social media will have seen it, but is this swan. So, this swan was rescued by James, who is one of the newest members of our rescue team. He's been a volunteer with us for quite a while now, but he's just decided to join the ranks of the rescuers and is doing an amazing job, so thank you very much, James. He went to rescue this swan, who was a bit collapsed in Red Hill, about 20 minutes down the road from where we were. Grabbed it, brought it back, was quite feisty, as you guys know swans usually are, but very reluctant to do a lot and actually quite thin. And we x-rayed it, and what you can see on that x-ray to the right hand side, it's not immediately what it looks like, which looks like lead shot. It's actually 3 lead weights, and if you look very closely at the bottom, you can see the remnants of a fishing hook. So this one has actually swallowed fishing line. The line has snapped off, so it isn't coming out of the beak, and it is lodged in the poor swan's throat. So that swan has actually now been transferred to the amazing team over at the Swan Sanctuary, which is another wildlife rescue.
Good old Mel. Good old Mel.
An hour from us, probably a bit less than that. But they have a vet that is very, very used to doing this sort of surgery, and they said it'll be a quick job just to go in, to take that out, make sure everything is okay, and that swan will be returned to the wild once it's a bit plumper. But that
on
one,
another matter,
we didn't video that one, but thank you very much to both James and the Swan Sanctuary for the help on that one as well.
On another matter, the badger's cubs are just waking up. So if you click onto my screen very quickly, you'll see the badger cubs are just waking up. Within the next 20 or 30 minutes, they'll probably be out in the middle of the flight. But they're just begun to wake up now. We have 4 big chambers like that for all the badgers, and yet they all decide to sleep in one chamber. So you just get this
three or four badgers
pile
high.
of badgers. But they're just waking up now, and you know, hopefully they'll go out into this set, like this bit. Oh, there's one out already. Look, one's come out early. He's obviously doesn't recognise the dark. But they come out and play around all night. There's 2 of them out. So yeah, that's our badger flight. They will go back to the wild September or October, depending upon the weather conditions at the time. In fact, 7 or 8 of our badgers are going up to Norfolk this year. The guy who we work with, Luke, who's part of the Badger Trust up there, has built the most amazing set for them. And Warwick, our guy from the East Surrey Badger Group, is building another set for us over in Surrey. So our badgers will go out to very, very 5-star start homes when they go. So there they are playing. Watch them on the cameras tonight, guys. They do get up to some amazing antics. Don't be shy to watch them. They are a lot of fun. I still watch them now, 40 years on, and I'm still watching the badgers at night. I am obsessed.
As is my mother, actually. So if she's watching this, I've just caught you out.
There you are.
So, question regarding swans. GW Nautical has asked, I have a swan at work on a golf green. He seems to be stuck on only one small pond. The large pond is over a fence that he can't cross, and he's been 3 days by himself. Should I try and move him? I don't want to stress him out. What would you think?
Very difficult without seeing pictures of the pond, pictures of the swan. I suspect it might be a juvenile, and the parents have kicked him out to find his own territory. We'd need to know a bit more, to be honest. If he's got water and he's got food, don't panic. He can fly. They do need a bit of space to take off. I mean, they need probably about
10 metres, probably.
I think more than that. I'd say a bit more than that, actually. 20 or 30 metres, I would say. Lawrie and I will have this argument later on. To get enough light, because they're quite heavy birds. Although they can fly, they do need a bit of a run at this. It's better for them to be on water, but they can do it from land as well. But they need a bit of takeoff time, so if you can put the fence down or something. But yeah, a few more pictures will give us a bit more of a picture. But if he's got water and got food, don't panic too much for now.
It's interestingly, just whilst we're on the takeoff thing, a little myth that we've heard a lot of people say over the past couple of weeks and months, especially as we're getting to the end of our swift season, is that swifts cannot take off from the ground. So if you see a swift on the ground, you're to pick it up if it's uninjured and throw it back into the air to help it get up. That is actually really, really bad, and if you do see that, please don't do that one. Usually if they're grounded, they are injured. If you throw them back up, you can cause a lot of damage, and an adult swift that is at full health will be able to take off from the ground. It will be difficult. They don't necessarily want to do it, but they can take off from the ground. So please don't start throwing swifts around if you find them, because that is a myth that we see popping up every year.
And the answer to that really is, if you do get something like that, just give us a call first. We'll give you a bit of advice, because there's various things you can just help them. Maybe just hold them maybe 4 or 5 feet off the ground to give them a chance. But rather than risk all that when they might not be able to fly for some other reason, give your local wildlife hospital a call, have a chat with them, and they can talk you through the best way to proceed from there.
And
I tried it with Lawrie. I tried with Lawrie. 7 stories up. He fell to the ground. He fell to the ground. 7 stories.
If you do find a grounded swift or anything like that, please do be careful as well. We certainly recommend, if at all possible, try and wear gloves. Their feathers can be really easily mucked up with oils in the skin and things like that, and they are so important for their flying ability. Swifts, for example, they can spend up to 10 months in the air without landing once, and their ability to fly really is what separates them living and dying. So if you do that, please be really careful with them. Other rescues, and these are some of the ones that you won't have seen anything about. So, Simon, what happened, I believe, last weekend, maybe the weekend before, with this little fox?
Oh, that's an interesting one. Vicious little bugger he is, Lawrie. He's a vicious little bugger, we learned afterwards. We got a call from Richmond. There's a little pond in one of the parks up there. He was just stuck in the middle of that little island. That thing where the statue is was just a little island in the middle of this very smelly, very nasty pond. And he'd been lying there apparently for 3 days. When Lawrie went in to approach him, he decided he didn't like Lawrie at all. Obviously, Laurie's using certainly the wrong soap.
I smell too much.
He smelt way too much, so he swam off into this grotty water, and luckily I managed to scoop him up and get him in a net. He had quite a nasty wound on his rump. He's with us now. He's a vicious little devil. But he will be fine. We'll get him well, and we'll get him back out somewhere. Hopefully not to go back onto the middle of that pond, but there we are, getting him out. We got him in a net, and off we went. So Lawrie went in, big, brave, and very cleverly with the ladder, and I caught him. So Lawrie took over head rescuer, but Simon was there to support him, as always.
I know there were actually quite a few people. Once we arrived, no one was watching at all. We put the ladder out, the fox jumped in, Simon got it with the net. Everything was all very rushed. We got him in, we got him into the box, and as soon as we closed the door to the box, this eruption of applause suddenly started, and both of us looked up, and there were probably 40 people watching / filming all of this rescue, and neither of us had a clue what was going on. So I know there's probably a lot of people that are wondering about an update on this fox. It's quite a nasty wound on the rump, but she's doing really, really well. That wound is healing very, very well. Very feisty, very nippy, but is doing fine, and we have everything crossed that she's going to make a full recovery, and we will be able to
If you could just put that clip back, Lawrie, that still shot of you getting the deer out, me and you getting the deer out. If you just put that back on the screen for a minute.
By deer, do you mean fox?
A fox, I mean fox, yeah. So there's Lawrie. It was quite cold that day, but Lawrie had his t-shirt on to show off his great big muscles. So there he is.
That's not true in the slightest.
He-Man Brayley with his funny haircut, showing off his bulging biceps, whereas my biceps just hang down now. They do nothing but sort of sway in the wind.
I
Off you go, Lawrie.
Genuinely no idea what
you got 4 minutes, Lawrie. You got 4 minutes. Make it count, man. Make it count.
So Strider has asked, what do you think of our native reptile protection being removed on all reptiles except sand lizards? Now this is an interesting one, because I actually wasn't aware that this was happening. Were you? That blank stare is incredibly reassuring.
I hope you think my screen had frozen so you had to take over.
No, I know you better than that.
I had no idea. No idea at all. We need to do a bit of research tomorrow.
We didn't know that was the case, so as soon as we get off this live stream, I think I've got an owl to catch up, because we do need to get a tawny owl back to the world this evening, so I've got to catch up an owl as soon as we finish this. But after that, I will look into that and see what's going on, because we weren't aware of that one, and hopefully that's not the case. We have a few of our volunteers here that work very closely with reptiles and amphibians and SARG, which is the Surrey Amphibian and Reptile Group. So we will inquire into that one. Thank you for bringing it up. The other rescue that we've been on recently that you might not have seen anything about is this little guy. Now this is a wood pigeon. Looks like it's exploded, but that is just entirely what wood pigeons do. As soon as they get trapped, they just lose all their feathers. It is absolutely mad. But somehow it managed to get both wings through this fence whilst its body was still on the other side. So it was flapping around, unfortunately causing a bit of damage to its wing, a bit of wounds on the carpus, which is sort of the top roundy part of the wing, and down towards the bottom where the body is as well. But luckily we were able to get him out, feed him back through, and gently pass him up. We didn't even need to cut the fence on that one. It would pass him back up, and he is doing really, really well. Tim, one of our vets, did all of the dressings and the wound care on that one as soon as we got him back, making fantastic progress, and hopefully he will also be heading out to the wild before too long. So a bit of a different species to what we usually feature on the channel, but hopefully we'll have a video of the whole progress of him as well as the fox coming very, very soon.
That's exciting, isn't it, people? Have you all had a nice time? Are we going to go through the green window or the blue window?
I have no idea. What are you on?
That just shows you're so young. If you ask your mum that, she'll know the green window and the blue window and the square window and all the exciting things, Lawrie.
It sounds like you need to get back on your medication at this point.
I do need to start taking it again. Right, we are seriously. Anything else major that we've got to talk about that we haven't and we get into trouble for?
Well, in terms
Amazon,
of questions,
use Amazon Smile. Use Amazon Smile, guys, not Amazon. Amazon Smile. We get money from it if you nominate us to take it. Thank you, because I'm not allowed to ask for money. Hang on, let me get my hand. Do it again.
Stop milking it. It was your own fault.
Okay.
Sue has asked on Facebook, when are you back on TV?
Hopefully never. Hopefully never. We do YouTube now. We did TV for 16 years. It was fun at the beginning. It got a bit of a drag towards the end. It was quite hard work. I love our YouTube channel. I think social media is taking over from television to a major degree, and over the next 10 years I think most of these things will be on Amazon, Netflix or something else. But who knows? You might see us crop up on TV, you might not. You might see Lawrie crop up on Police 5, but more likely to see me crop up on Police 5. So there you go. That's how the cookie crumbles.
So, in terms of other questions, we've had a few. We'll try and get through some of these as sort of quick fire, if you're happy with that, Simon.
You've got 1 minute, Lawrie.
And May
1 minute.
What's the strangest animal that you've ever rescued in terms of weird species?
Lawrie, next. Next question, come on.
That will probably be the boa constrictor or I believe, the iguana that you found up a tree, I would say.
No, it's Lawrie. Next question.
Tarantula Lady, I'm looking to start studying again in the near future to either get into wildlife rescue or more specifically ornithology. What qualifications do you have or would you recommend? That burst my eardrums.
I have actually no qualifications at all. I would recommend anything if you're clever enough to. I've got insanity. Insanity is a great qualification to have. You've got to have passion. All you need to do the work that we do here is a lot of passion, a lot of common sense, and just think like the animal. I know it sounds crazy, but if you're going to rescue, think like the animal and you'll get it right. It's a thing people have asked me to write books about how we rescue animals. I don't have time, and B, I don't know where I'd start, but passion is the thing. Qualifications, great. I'm far too thick to have any qualifications. But yeah, passion. If you get some qualifications, that's always good. Stands you in good stead. We've got a load of people working for us. We've got great qualifications. We've got a guy at the moment who's advising us on a lot of work and biodiversity work at 20 acres. And he's called Rami Siam, brilliant guy. And he keeps giving me all sorts of... I spend half an hour reading his reports, having to look at a dictionary to find out what bloody words he's used. They're so big and so long. But no, he's been a great... I mean, he's going to do all our biodiversity work and carbon footprint work on 20 acres. So, you know, qualifications always help, guys. They always help. They get you... I suppose it gets you in a mindset to study and to retain knowledge. Whereas if you look at my head, there's no knowledge retained in there. And if you look at Lawrie, I have nothing further to say.
On that note, Timothy's just asked, I have a question. If not trained or experienced in direct animal contact, what kind of volunteering opportunities are there for people to aid groups like us and other wildlife rescues? So I think
start at the bottom. Start at the bottom, guys. Just go in, learn, watch, do. You'll either find that you've got it as a natural, or you'll pick it up, or whatever. Do what you can, and you'll find it will come to you. You know, you just embrace it, and it will happen. If you believe you can do it, you probably can.
Yeah. Actually, a lot of our staff members, myself included, and Abby, we all started here as volunteers. So we started doing animal care and just giving once a week, as a lot of places do, and it's all gone from there. The best way to do it is to volunteer. A load of wildlife rescue centres, both in the UK and worldwide, would absolutely love the help of someone with the passion that you guys are showing in the comments here. To start out with, and it might be a slow process. You won't necessarily be jumping on the backs of deer immediately, but as long as you're willing to learn, you will make fantastic progress in it, and you will get to do a whole lot of stuff. And I can heartily recommend it. I really, really can, because it really does. You do feel like, in some small way, you are making a difference. I would recommend it.
All I can say to you is photosynthesis, and Lawrie won't know where that's come from until he reads the chat in a minute, and then he'll work out why I just said that.
You mean photosynthesis?
No, photosynthesis.
I'm a biologist. I know photosynthesis.
Photosynthesis.
That's wrong. I can categorically tell you that that's wrong. Photosynthesis.
Photosynthesis.
Just don't ask him ever to pronounce tiramisu, because it's wrong.
Tiramisu. Come on, all you guys who love
tiramisu.
Italian food. Tiramisu. Tiramisu. Lawrie's northern.
Very off topic.
He's not well. Laurie's sorry, not well. Lawrie, we're 8:05. We're going to say goodbye now, Lawrie. We're going to sign you out while there's still a reasonable amount of sanity in the insanity.
There's no sanity left in him.
There's a little bit. There is a little bit somewhere. Lawrie, are we going to say goodnight now?
Yes, so thank you as always to every single one of you who has commented, asked a question, donated, watched any of the videos, shared any of the content, followed us on social media, anything. You guys are absolutely incredible. We can only do what we do, and the centres like us can only exist thanks to your generosity, your support, all of that lot. So huge thank you. You are the reason all of this is possible and can happen. Also want to say, as Simon was saying earlier, a big thanks to the a lot of the volunteer teams and the staff we have up at the centre at the moment who have braved very short numbers to come in and help out. People are doing triple shifts and silly work hours to make everything work, especially in this busy season. So you guys are incredible, and thank you so much for everything that you are doing. And we will see you guys in
I'm going to sign off. Like,
this
I'm
is
going
the
to have
last
my word.
Wednesday in
He won't stop.
September,
When he starts
I believe.
talking, he won't stop. He just keeps going on.
If
All
you
I'm going to say,
interrupt,
GW Nautical, please keep us in touch about the swan. Send us an email if you've got any problems with the swan. We do mean it. I've been watching the thread going on. Give us a call or give us an email. But Lawrie, you can sign off, and then I can go to sleep quietly by myself alone. Hello.
Thank you as always again, guys, and we will see you on September the 29th. Take care.